Yo, what's going on, y'all? Shout out to the LDBC. It's your boy Fight Critic, and here to give you guys a video just touching on the current and ongoing uh, frustrated situation that Terence Crawford kind of put himself in. Um, I know for a lot of people, uh, they are huge fans of Terence Crawford, and I'm a huge fan of Terence Crawford. So seeing what has happened to him, especially at the welterweight division, in my opinion, it's definitely something that I get and I understand, but at the same time, you can't also blame everybody else for what Terence Crawford is going through. And the big reason why you can't blame anybody else is simply because Terence Crawford signed that contract renewal back in 2018, I believe, when he was set up really at a time where it was perfect for him to kind of test the waters and see what he can do in a market as a free agent. You know, he wasn't really like the kind of guy where you're just like, oh my God, like I'm rushing to see this guy if you're a casual fan, because the numbers just weren't there for him. And it shows that. However, he was a good enough name in the sport that if he kind of went and shopped around for a couple of deals, he probably could have gotten similar to the money that he's getting right now, but he would have more of an access pool to different levels of opponents, much better than what he's been going through right now. Now I'm not the kind of person that's gonna, go back and take a shit on a fight that I wanted on paper, because that's not just me. When he was rumored to be fighting Amir Khan, I felt that he should have fought Kell Brook instead. And him, when he got the Kell Brook fight, I was just like, cool, this is great. This is a step in the right direction. You know, Kell Brook, despite how mismanaged the latter half of his career was, and he was put into situations where he pretty much, it didn't look good for him, even though I had predicted that he would take losses to Gennady Golovkin and Errol Spence. He got handsomely paid for those fights. But also at the same time, I felt that that was a good fight for Crawford to take, because Spence had already fought a couple guys that were on the side of PBC, so it made a ton of sense for him to take the Kell Brook fight. And he went in there, he did his job. He got rid of Kell Brook in really good fashion, but he really didn't win anything out of that fight because he was still stuck in the same place that he was going into the fight. And for Terence Crawford, he's getting up there in age where there's going to be some sort of slippage at some point. And for Bob Arum, he's been very vocal about how much of a investment that Terence Crawford has been for him that he's not seeing a return on. So I think for Bob, the easiest thing that he could do is just give up Crawford and just let him do something else if he's costing you that much money. But the big reason Arum won't do it is because he knows the minute that Crawford leaves, Crawford can get a very, very, very good financial, looking fight that looks amazing on paper in terms of dollars. And other welterweights in the division they know this. Arum knows this. Terence Crawford is starting to see it. So when other welterweights are telling Bob Arum, offer up the kind of purses that would get them to fight Terence Crawford, because they know that they've done enough and they've done probably more in that division to get that significant pay, and they have the numbers behind it. You've seen a lot of reluctance in Bob Arum. He's only willing to take a deal where he comes out on top, as opposed to doing what's best for his fighter. So for Bob Arum, at some point he's going to have to let Crawford go or shelve him, similarly to what he does to other fighters. But in the end, Terence Crawford put himself in this situation. We all told him that it was time to go, and he stayed. And I really feel bad, because he's a really gifted fighter who is seeing himself slip down a lot of pound for pound lists because the level of opposition just isn't there. And speaking of pound for pound, I haven't done my own list in a long time and released it to, the channel. So I think I'll spend some time working on that. Maybe that'll be a drop that I do tomorrow. I'm still putting the final touches on the Golden Boy series that I'm doing. Part 2 should be out some point this week. I'm just putting together all the images with the audio, and then of course cleaning it up. But yeah, Terence Crawford put himself in this situation, and ultimately he's just gonna have to deal with it. I'm sorry, it's just what it is.